everybody, and welcome to Increasing Your Cash Flow. This seminar is super important, and I've got a couple of seminars that I put together for my paying clients, and I've put them together for you in this package. It's fabulous. Listen to all of it and then go through the workbook. I hope you enjoy it. Over to the seminars. So let's dive straight in with this module. So this is something you should be diarising and looking at every 6 to 12 months without fail. This will make you the most successful property investor, as you will be able to align your portfolio with your own strategy and goals. And this is incredibly important. Let me tell you, the big investors that I've worked with, that's the NHS, that's landed estates, all the investment portfolios as well, the insurance portfolios, they do this. They go look at their strategy more than they buy properties and more than they dispose of properties. It's as simple as strategy makes their investment world go round, and it should make your investment world go round. Do not forget to do this on a regular basis. Now, I'm not saying you need to be doing this on a daily basis. I mean, you can if you want to, and I'm sure that you're constantly thinking about your property portfolio. But make sure that you're doing this regularly and constantly keeping updated with what's going on in your portfolio and how you can improve. It's a constant cycle of improvement. You buy your properties and then you don't just want them to stay stationary. You want to keep doing them up, keep making them better, keep making them generate higher cash flow, keep improving the value until you've got everything you possibly can out of that property. At this stage, it does not matter what anyone else is doing. You are in this for you. Your portfolio is your own. You've got your own goals. You're looking at investing in your own way with properties that you feel comfortable with. So do not be comparing yourself to anybody else around you. This is solely for you. This is your property portfolio, and it performs for you and you alone. So the main aim is to increase net cash flow. And the most simple way of doing this is to either increase your income or decrease your costs. And that's exactly what this module is all about. So the first steps are to go back to the spreadsheet that you completed in module 1, analysing your current portfolio. Update the income and expenditure so that the analysis is true as of today's date. So today could be the day that you're currently working on the program, or today could be 6 months out, 12 months out, whenever you come back and have a look at this. But make sure every single time you do your strategy, come back here, you look at this module, and you go through everything that I've got here. Take a look at what your portfolio is doing as a whole. Is this doing what you want it to do? How is the income doing compared to your goals? Really analyse it. Take a look at what's going on. Are all of your properties making positive cash flow? Seriously, take a look through. Make sure that you're putting down your accurate rental income, your accurate expenditure. Be really, really true to yourself. That's the only way you can give yourself an honest appraisal of what's going on in your property portfolio right now today. Now it's time to start analysing your portfolio. I want you to take a look at your income. Can you improve on the rental value or the rental income that you're getting? Can you add value to the property? These are questions I want you to be asking yourself, and I have put help sheets and videos below to help you look at this in more detail. Now look at your expenditure. Has your mortgage expenditure changed? Is it nearing the end of its initial term? Have your service charge costs increased? If so, by how much? Are your management costs outweighing the service you're being provided? Have your maintenance costs become excessive? Does your letting fee correspond with the service? Did you have a long void period? Have you put money aside into your contingency? Again, I have added help sheets below to help you with this. This is all questions you need to be asking yourself, because you have to also try and reduce your expenditure where possible to make sure that you're increasing your income as best you can. So you need to be analysing this every single time you come and have a look at your strategy and see what's working and see what's not. Then you need to make changes. Using the help sheets provided, work on reducing your expenditure and increasing your income where possible. This will move your net income towards the goals you have set for yourself. Do not be afraid to ask questions of the people who are working on your portfolio. If you don't like something, you are in charge, so take control and change it. Then it's time to set goals. If you start making changes, determine when you would like to see results by. What visions do you have for each of your properties? Write this down and ensure that everyone who is working on your property portfolio knows where you're headed and what you are trying to achieve with each of your properties. And you know what? It's okay to sell properties, and I've put a seminar below that you should watch about this, because if your properties are not making you money and you've got a property there which is really detrimental to your cash flow and what you are trying to achieve, then you can sell your property. Look, you do not have to keep anything that doesn't align with your goals and support your strategy. And if it comes to it, it is okay to sell. And then every single time you come and sit down and do strategy, repeat the process. You need to be making sure that your properties align with your goals. That's what strategy is all about. So if you want to make X amount of net income, how can you really work on your properties and work with them to make sure that they are bringing in more income, their expenditure is decreased, and really working for you. So this is what this module is all about. In this seminar, we are going to talk about when it's okay to sell your properties. Okay, so let's go through selling your properties. I know that this isn't something that most property investors discuss or even contemplate doing. The general rule of thumb is that you always hold on to your properties. But let me tell you something. The landed estates and huge property investors sell their properties all the time. If it's not working for them anymore, they sell it so that they can buy something even better. So I do not want you to feel pressure to keep hold of your properties if they aren't performing for you. You don't need to keep assets that just don't work, because actually they end up becoming a real drain on your resources. It's not worth it. It really, really isn't. The key is just knowing when the best time to sell is. So the whole point of this module is to put in place a strategy to make sure that you are getting the best income possible from your properties. After all, it's your business and it needs to be successful. If you've been through this module and you've noticed that you just cannot get one of the properties to make a good income, then it's probably a really good time to look into whether it's worth keeping. And that's perfectly fine, because it means that you are doing your job as a property investor. If you've noticed something isn't working, let's change it. And that's awesome. That's really, really good news. So let's have a look at reasons why you would sell. If the property just doesn't fit in with your strategy anymore, say you've got a serviced apartment and actually you're running all HMOs, or you're just running single buy-to-lets or something that's a bit easier, then why not get rid of it so that you can continuously keep your property portfolio in something that you're comfortable with? Or it may just not be bringing in enough income for you. It may be bringing in £100 per calendar month net income when you want £500 per calendar month net income. In which case, why not sell it and trade it in for something that will do what you need it to do? This moves us on to the next point. It doesn't make enough money to make it worth your while keeping it. Going back to that £100 per calendar month net income, does this really work for you? You need to be questioning that, because actually it's not very much money considering how much you probably need to work on it over the year. I mean, really, that's only £1,200 a year net income. Is it really worth keeping it, or could you take the money back out and spend it on a property that actually makes you a real good, decent amount of income? You really need to be considering this. Also, you might not be able to add any more value to the property if you just don't know what's left to do and you're kind of out of ideas, you don't feel there's anything more you can add to it, and you don't know how you're going to be increasing its capital value, let alone its rental income. Why not sell it? If you've done all you can do with it, pass it on to someone else who can give it a go. And it doesn't mean that you failed. Even if 12 months down the line you see the same property and the new owner has really, really revamped it, who cares? If you've got to the end of where you want to be with it, it's definitely time to sell. If the property isn't going to increase in value anymore, or you don't think it is, and you've got, again, this going back to no more places to add value, why not sell it? If it's not going to make you any more money, then really, why keep hold of it? Unless it is making you a fantastic rental income, in which case keep hold of it if it's in line with your strategy. If the property is in an area which is so far removed from the rest of your properties, like if you're managing properties yourself, and from my point of view, it doesn't matter where you are, you can manage properties anywhere, but if for you it's become really tiring, all your properties are in London and you've got one in Liverpool and it just takes you ages to get up there, or there's a property that just is so far outside the zone where you're usually looking after properties, and fine, sell it. Why do you need to keep it? If you need to be looking at it in line with your portfolio strategy, and look, if it doesn't work anymore, it just doesn't work. If you can no longer afford the maintenance, if things are spiraling so high and so out of control, and you think, if I just got rid of this one property, my portfolio would be awesome, then surely it's time to consider selling it. Or you just don't love the property as much as you used to. I know that sounds ridiculous, but if you really don't care about a property, you're not really interested in looking after it, it's not something that you're really passionate about anymore, why keep it? Or if you feel the market is going to start dropping in the area. Look, we don't have crystal balls. I cannot accurately tell you what's going to happen over the next 12 months, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. We don't know. But if you have that hunch that actually the property could start making you a loss in the next 12 months. You can see businesses moving elsewhere. You can see the city or the town that you've invested in going slightly downhill, and you're not really sure when that's going to bounce back, and you don't know if you want to stomach it for the long term, waiting for the area to really revive itself. Then why not get rid of it before the market starts to drop too far, in which case you have to keep hold of it, otherwise you'll make a huge loss on your mortgage. I think these are all huge reasons that actually you could say perfectly well to yourself, okay, this just isn't working for me right now. I'll sell it, I'll use the money, and I will put it into something else that is equally as awesome or even more awesome, and use it to align with my strategies. So here's the benefit of selling. It gives you the cash to go back out and invest in a property that really aligns with your strategy and goals. And that is the absolute main thing. You want your whole property portfolio to align with your strategy and goals. If it doesn't, why keep hold of it? And everybody's got a different strategy. Everybody's got different goals. And look, a property that you've got in your portfolio may not work for you anymore, but it may work from someone else, and it keeps the property market going. Do not feel that you have to hold on to something that just does not work for you. It's pointless. You don't need to do it. All you need to be doing is really working on your portfolio, working on the strategy, looking at whether it's working for you or whether it's not working for you, and if it isn't, then it is definitely time to sell. But this seminar is all about getting you to think about how you can add value to your property. So, increasing value. Another key way of increasing cash flow and capital value is to be on the lookout for ways to add value to your property. Just be mindful of the fact that for tax purposes, adding value is treated as capital expense and is treated as part of your base cost for capital gains purposes. So ask your accountant for more info about this, as they'll be able to tell you about it. But basically, it cannot be deducted from your rental income on a yearly basis. Simple as, but go to your accountant and make sure that they know exactly what you're doing. So, how to know what to add? You need to be creative and on the lookout for unused space within your property, or things that haven't been done for a while, or anything where you feel actually that would be a super awesome addition to the property, and that could create me X amount more income, or it could create me X amount more capital gain for when you remortgage the property. You really, really need to be thinking about this. For example, could a loft become a bedroom? Could an unused hallway space become another WC or an ensuite for one of the bedrooms? The call is yours. But if you can see something that you could add, go out and start researching how much value it's actually going to add to your property, whether through increasing the value of your property or whether through adding to the rent. You want to be creating more. Don't fall into the trap of adding too much and making the property feel cramped. So obviously there is still a balance. You need to be making sure that if whatever you're putting in still works for your property. Don't be reducing bedroom sizes or living spaces or making the property feel really small, because that will actually have a real negative impact on the property. You want to be making the property awesome. That is your job as a landlord. That's your job in the strategy. That's your job as a really good property investor. So make sure you're wandering around it and being realistic. When you see potential, really drill down onto what that potential is, why you're doing it, what the benefits are going to be, and also what the cost is going to be. What are the negatives? And really be looking into this. Keep an eye out on the local property market. What do similar properties have that yours doesn't right now, but that could be added? You need to be having a look at that. Again, I keep saying this, set reminders on Rightmove, Zoopla, On the Market, all those different comparison sites, and seeing what other people have got that your property simply doesn't have, and then seeing if you've got potential to add to that. As I said here as well, subscribe to updates from the local planning office and see what other people are adding to their properties. What would it work for yours? That's a question you need to be continuously asking. And look, the planning office is really, really good as well, because if other people have been granted permission to do certain things, that means that you're more than likely to be granted permission to do certain things as well. And it makes it easier for you. Also, a really, really good idea as well is to wander up and down your local street and seeing how other people's properties differ from yours and whether you could add similar things that they've got there. Really, really keep your eyes peeled and look at what's going on. You need to be really, really in tune with the surrounding area. So even if you don't inspect the property very often, say it's like every 6 months, every 12 months, just make sure you're looking around the local area as well. Don't just ignore everything, turn it like just driving around or walking around with your eyes to the pavement or really not concentrating on what's going on. Make a point of just spending 10 minutes looking around the local area and seeing what's changed, and then having a look and seeing if that gives you potential to add anything else to your property. The idea behind this is to be making the best you possibly can from your property portfolio. And that's fine to be getting ideas from other properties, because actually that's how you can see how you can improve your property and how you can make the most out of it. So let's discuss the cost. The cost of the project should be less than what you are going to gain from it. It's as simple as. For example, if you are going to pay £20,000 for a loft conversion, this should be adding more than £25 in value to the property so that you can take this cash back out when you next remortgage, and the additional rental income it creates, so the additional bedroom that you would get from the loft, should cover the additional mortgage. So make sure that you're being clever in your adding value, because obviously whatever you put in and whatever you spend doing it, you have to get more out of it than what you spend. So make sure you're analysing it, you're really, really having a look at it. This could be different from every single property, and this is why I've not put any spreadsheets with this so you can calculate it, because it's actually down to your property and the circumstance of your property and how you feel about doing it. But you should be able to pay for the cost of these works through the contingency fund that you've put in place and you've been saving up for from the rest of your portfolio. There should be enough money in there, or borrow it from yourself and repay yourself. But you should be being really clever about this, but also be very, very vigilant in constantly looking out how you can add value to your property. What can you really do to give your tenants a better place to live? What can you do for yourself to add value to it so that you can take that value back out when you remortgage? Get really clever, get creative, make sure you're constantly thinking about it. It's something that's super, super important as part of your portfolio strategy. And now you're not going to be able to do something with it every year. I mean, if you are, brilliant, but it's not likely that you will be. But just bear it in mind that this is something you need to be on the lookout for. And when you can improve your property, even as simple as putting in maybe a power shower where you haven't had that before, or making the bathroom a little bit nicer or the kitchen a little bit nicer, be constantly on the lookout for this. Make sure that your tenants are getting the best service they possibly can out of you, and that means that you have to be providing them with the best accommodation, and this is how you'll get the best rent. So use this as part of your strategy and keep looking out for it. It's something that would be really, really important for you, and it's a way of improving your portfolio generating that extra cash flow without necessarily having to buy another property at the moment. So it's a cheaper way than buying an additional property, and then in a couple of years' time when you come to remortgage, you could probably take out enough from the property that actually you could buy yourself another property. So really think about this. Think about it as a method of expanding your portfolio, of adding cash to your portfolio, whether through increased rental income or increased capital value of your property, and really use it to your advantage. This is a place for you to get creative. It's a place for you to be a really awesome landlord, great property investor, and really be looking at your property portfolio as a whole and thinking, oh my gosh, I've got an awesome asset here, but how can I improve it? And this is something that big landlords do constantly. They're always looking at ways to improve their portfolios. It's a cyclical thing. They always are looking at it. What can I do this year to improve that property? What can I do this year to improve the other properties? And they're constantly looking at it, and it's something that you really need to be doing. Don't just buy a property and sit on it and never look at it. Constantly look at it as an asset, and an asset you can improve. And look, if you can't improve it, we'll talk about how to deal with that at the end of the module. But for now, make sure your eyes are open to the fact that actually there are always ways that you can improve on the service you're offering your tenant. And this part of the module is what is telling you to go out there and really think creatively, think with your brand in mind, and be providing your tenants with the best service. And look, if you need any help with this, or you've got any ideas that you want to run past me, email me, natasha@ncrealestate.co.uk. I am here to help you, so use the service. I want you to be making the best out of your properties. I want you to be the best landlord you possibly can. So use this. Go out, be looking at what you can do, and really improve your properties. Constantly adding value doesn't just make it better for your tenants, it makes it better for you as well. I really hope you enjoyed those 3 seminars all mashed together to give you the most from this 7-day success summit. I can't believe it. Tomorrow is the last day, but do come back and join me for recycling the strategy. It's a really, really, really important one that you need to make sure that you come and have a look at, because this will keep you going forward. Right, go and do the workbook, and if you need to, go back through these videos and take notes again. And I cannot wait to see you tomorrow.